Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving deep into a scorching topic, the UK heat wave of 2022.
Yeah, a summer that definitely made headlines.
Remember those pictures? Milk at airport runways, people sweltering. It was wild.
Definitely not your typical British summer.
Right. So we'll break down what caused this heat wave, the impacts, the social, economic, environmental, the whole shebang, and what strategies were put in place or are being put in place for the future. But first, let's set the scene. Summer 2022. The UK is baking under this relentless sun. Temperatures are soaring, breaking records left and right.
Yeah, and it wasn't just a bit warm. The Met Office issued a red weather warning, the highest level of alert.
Serious stuff. That's a signal that lives are at stake.
Yeah.
So 40.3 degrees Celsius was the peak.
In Coningsby, Lincolnshire.
Hottest temperature ever recorded in the UK. So what fueled this inferno, this heat monster?
Well, it all starts with the Azores High, this high-pressure system normally hanging out near Spain. But in 2022, it decided to take a trip north, bringing this massive wave of hot air with it.
Like a Spanish holiday gone wrong.
Exactly. And this high pressure, it essentially parked itself over the UK, trapping the heat like a lid on a pot.
Creating what scientists call a heat dome.
Exactly, a heat dome. And then you've got the urban heat island effect, making cities even hotter.
Because all that concrete and asphalt absorbs and radiates heat.
Yeah, it's like a giant oven.
So you've got this heat dome, urban heat islands. It's a recipe for, well, a meltdown.
And then the big question, was this just a freak event, or is climate change playing a role?
Right, because some experts say it's too soon to link a single event to climate change.
But others, like Dr. McCarthy from the Met Office, they argue that human activity is increasing the likelihood of these extreme events.
So the debate continues. But regardless of the cause, the impact was undeniable.
Absolutely. Lives were disrupted, businesses were affected, the environment took a hit.
Yeah, schools were closed, transportation systems were thrown into chaos. Remember the London Fire Brigade?
Busiest day since World War II, over 2,600 calls.
Insane. And thousands of homes lost power because the grid just couldn't handle the demand. And then there's the economic impact.
Yeah, that image of the melted runway at Luton Airport, that says it all.
Flights canceled, diverted, businesses losing money, and the train services grinding to a halt because the tracks buckled.
And the power supply is overheated. It was a logistical nightmare.
And agriculture felt the heat too. Some crops, like berries, they actually did well.
A bumper crop of strawberries.
But potatoes, not so much. The lack of water, it caused shortages.
And speaking of water, the drought conditions were really concerning. Reservoirs lost a huge amount of water.
Up to 50% in some areas.
Wow, that's scary. And then the wildfires, devastating huge swaths of land, releasing even more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere.
It's a vicious cycle.
It really is. So faced with this unprecedented heat wave, what did the UK do?
Well, the Met Office, with its early warning system, that was crucial. It gave people time to prepare.
Right, and there were public awareness campaigns, advice for vulnerable populations, cooling centers were set up, and supermarkets stopped selling disposable BBQs.
To reduce the risk of wildfires. Sensible.
And in some areas, hosepipe bans were put in place to conserve water.
Necessary but tough. So a mix of proactive and reactive measures. But what about long-term planning?
Well, this heat wave was a wake-up call. It forced the government to start thinking about climate resilience.
Investing in heat-resistant infrastructure, water-wise landscaping, things like that.
Exactly. So the 2022 heat wave, as devastating as it was, might actually be a turning point.
A catalyst for change. Well, this deep dive has definitely been eye-opening. We've seen how a heat wave can impact every aspect of life, the social disruption, the economic fallout, the environmental damage, it's all connected. And it raises some crucial questions. How do we prepare for a future with more extreme weather events? What steps can we take as individuals, as communities, as a global society to mitigate the effects of climate change?
Because one thing is clear, the 2022 UK heat wave was a stark reminder of our vulnerability to the changing climate.
And it's a reminder that we need to act now before it's too late. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time.